What is going on YouTube and Spotify? This is the Just BSN podcast, and today we begin the Cavaliers playoff preview, as well as some guards talk. We'll also get into a little bit of Browns at the very end, but this is going to mainly be guards and Cavs today. Cavs playoffs, the playoff game starts on Sunday. We still don't know who they're playing yet, but again, we'll get into that in a little bit. Andrew, how are we feeling on this lovely Thursday evening at 7:11 p.m.?
Dude, 7-Eleven is such a perfect thing.
And no, I didn't even think about that until I said
Yeah.
it.
I could go for a 7-Eleven slushy right now, but yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. No, man, I'm doing great. Cavs are in the playoffs. Tomorrow we find out who we play, whether it's Miami or Atlanta. So I'm ready to see who we play and watch them playoff basketball.
Hell yeah, dude! I'm really excited. And honestly, so far the play-in tournament games have been pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, the Dallas game was a little bit of a snooze fest, and honestly, even last night's I think it was Bulls and Heat game, that was a little bit of a rough game to watch for the most part because the Heat just kind of had it the whole time. I think Hero had like 38 last night. So you know, the first night was a lot better than night two. But yeah, the Cavs will obviously know who they play by tomorrow night. So that will be good. We play Sunday night. I think we play at like 7 or 7:30. So we are prime time on Easter Sunday, dude. That's gonna be fucking banging.
Yeah, sir. So I just looked at 7 p.m. TNT, so we get
Cool.
the best primetime game. So
well, yeah, I mean now we don't have to worry about ever missing another Cavs game until they are done. So
yeah,
they're gonna always be on some sort of nationally televised game because they're in the playoffs. But we will save the Cavs playoff preview review for a little bit. We want to get into some guards talk to start it off, and then we'll get back into the Cavs talk. So last time we sort of left off here, the guards were struggling a little bit, but I believe they might have just started sweeping or did sweep the White Sox at that point. I'm not sure. I forget which day we were at, but they swept the Sox, and I think did we sweep the Royals? Yeah, we did.
no, we went.
No, we went 3-1.
2-1.
We went 3-1. Yeah,
2-1, 3-1. Yeah,
whatever
2-1.
the fuck it is.
2-1.
Yes. But point is, they've sort of gotten back on track. They're currently they're 9-8 right now. Currently playing Baltimore. We lost for the first two nights to the Orioles. Just a couple unfortunate nights out. Gavin had a pretty good night besides a grand slam pitch that just kind of got us into a hole and we couldn't get out of it. But the guards are still playing pretty well, and so far today they're playing well. They're up 2-1. We got a couple of solo home runs from Schneeman and Austin Hedges out of all people. The two guys you wouldn't think would get home runs, pretty much back to back, did.
Yeah.
And then leading off after that, Brian Verrocchio grounds out. So he is one of the topics of conversation here too, because I think a lot of fans have sort of they've gotten on the train of kind of where we are or where we have been with Brian Verrocchio. He struggled a lot throughout the season last year. Pretty much up until playoff time, and he's back to struggling again. I mean, he'll get a hit, here and there, and he'll drive in a run here and there, but his play on defense, it's been a disaster. And
Yeah.
I really think what Sean was telling us about, them wanting to move Arias at shortstop seems a lot more plausible now than it ever has before.
Yeah, I mean, it does because, like you said, right, as his defense has not been fantastic. And, I mean, just at side of second base, him and Ramirez, for some reason, Ramirez has not been doing well defensively either. He's had a couple of hiccups here and there. But we all know that Jose will actually bounce back and actually do something at the plate at the same time. So Jose obviously isn't the worry. The worry is that Brian Verrocchio is not that kind of player. He's struggling at the plate, he is struggling. Well, he's not overly struggling at the plate. He's batting like 222 right now, but again, he's not what we saw in the postseason, where he was excellent defensively and excellent at the plate.
Right.
He is showing us that he is last season's Brian Rocchio, where he is struggling at the plate and struggling to make some defensive plays.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where you have to start considering within probably the next couple weeks. Once we started to get into the month of May, is do we start thinking about sending him down to AAA? Do you start bringing up Juan Brito, who has been looking really good in double or AAA as we speak? He's been batting around like 400, and he's been absolutely killing it in AAA. And I'm definitely going to look at his batting average here in a moment, but I think we start to look at bringing up Juan Brito and start looking at, hey, should we bring in Martinez to play second base? Do we start Schneemann at second base, or do we platoon those two at second base, Schneemann and Martinez, and give Brito some time there too as well? Obviously, you could just give the start to Juan Brito and just let your two guys be the Swiss Army knives. So there's a lot to there's a lot to go off of right now and what the Guardians should really do, because you can't let a guy who's currently batting 295 in AAA right now really sit there for that much longer when the uncertainty of Rocchio is still looming.
Right.
So I don't think the fans are, obviously we're Cleveland fans, so we're always impatient no matter what, but the fans are getting impatient, and you can kind of tell that the coaching staff's slightly getting a little bit more impatient with him. They've been waiting for him to get better defensively and hitting better. And like I said, once we start getting to the month of May, I think there's a chance that you see him getting sent down. You bring up Juan Brito, and you have Arias being a full-time shortstop, and you kind of have Brito, Martinez, and Schneemann all battling for that second base spot. If not, I mean, they probably start Brito there for a few games and see what he's got and let him kind of work his way in.
Yeah, and the other thing that we haven't really discussed. Well, we have said his name before, but Travis Bazzana in Double A is playing some insane ball. The Akron Rubber Ducks right now are probably better than some major league teams right now. They're playing that fucking good. He has 3 or 4 triples, I think.
I'm looking at his stats right now. He has 3 triples, 1 double, 1 home run, 7 RBIs, 6 walks, 12 hits, 9 runs, 41 at bats, batting 294.
Yeah, so I mean, his batting, average has gone down a little bit, but it's like every day you hear him. Oh, he's got another triple. He's doing some work down there, and you just wonder how long it's going to take before the Guardians go, I think it's time we bring him up. But again, I know they're pretty high on Brito as well. We heard that all off season, and the fact that they didn't bring him up and they wanted to give Rocchio a chance again. It's just like, you even saw him in spring training. Rocchio was not playing that well. You knew it wasn't going to be a very good time. And so far it hasn't. Like, again, I think the only thing that's keeping him up here is the fact that he will get a hit here and there. I think he's batting, let's see, Rocchio is batting like 222. Okay, so he's not horrible, but he's not great. Okay, but Austin Hedges has a better freaking batting, average to him right now. And Austin Hedges, I don't even think batted 200 last year. In fact, he just hit a home run earlier today. So, I mean, besides the top 4 of the lineup, this one's not including Manzardo. Everybody's doing pretty bad hitting wise. Like the bottom half of this lineup is not hitting very well. After Arias, it's a weird, rough slope. And we even said before the podcast, Nolan Jones, he's just getting a little bit unlucky because His velo is there. He's getting good contact. It's just going right to guys. Like it's just not getting in play. So he's not really able to catch a break. And even with Joe or with Noel, he's got the power and stuff. So it's gonna come eventually. And even with Lane Thomas, it's gonna happen too. Like we both know he usually starts slow. So those guys you can sort of keep a longer bit of a leash on them. But dude, I don't know how long of a leash you can keep guys like Brian, Baruchio and Bo Naylor on. Both, I think, have struggled quite a bit enough to where you could argue putting them out for an assignment and putting them into AAA and bringing somebody else up that is going to produce better. And again, it's going to get way more complicated once David Fry is off the IL. It's going to be interesting. I don't know how it's going to play out, man. Like it's going to be kind of a testament to Vogt as well to really decide what he's got to do. And I just hope he has the guts. I hope he has the understanding to make the right choices. Because, dude, you can't keep letting Rocchio play as bad as he is. You can't keep him up here if he's going to continue struggling.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you absolutely can't. And by the way, when you mentioned Austin Hedges, he just threw an absolute laser to third base on a pickoff and got the guy on third out. It was it was a guy on second and third with one out, and he just absolutely just made the catch off of a Bybee pitch and just gunned down the guy, just taking too big of a lead on third base.
Damn.
And that's the one thing that Austin Hedges is so good at, because he did that a few games ago in his last start where he did that with a guy taking a big lead at first, where the guy struck out and then he immediately got up and threw the ball to first and got the guy leading off out at first.
Yeah.
Like, he's so good at picking people off like that. And he's good defensively. The ball just hit the dirt and he went in front of it and got it.
Fucking Christ.
And I just saw what happened.
Oh, fucking Bybee. You guys are killing me, dude. This starting rotation starting to worry me, man. It's not a consistent, because there's nights where Bybee's on, man. And then there's nights where he has 3 fucking walks. He's given up 2 home runs, 4 runs already off 3 hits. And we're not even through the 3rd inning.
No, but yeah, like you said, I'm kind of done with your Bo Naylors. I'm kind of done with Brian Rocchio, and that hit the top of the wall. I wonder if they're actually going to keep that as a home run, because it didn't seem like it cleared, and there's no yellow light. So I don't know. This could be reviewed and maybe just be brought back as a double. I don't see Stephen Vogt wanting to do anything.
Still, it'll probably score at least 2 of those 3 runs, even so. But yeah.
They'll probably bring in 1 run potentially, because that's probably just a double, and the guy on first, I believe, wasn't fast enough to make a home.
I guess we'll see, but
we're gonna see. But yeah,
you're struggling against a 7-10, Orioles team.
Well, and the thing is, Orioles are built to win. They have good hitters. The problem is that we haven't found ourselves just quite yet this season.
It doesn't make sense. Like you found out what you were last season.
Yeah.
And now you can't. I mean, if you can't find that, I mean, dude.
It doesn't seem like there's much of a vibe right now with the team. It seems like eerie almost right now.
Here's a hot topic. You want to get into this?
And they counted it as a home run, by the way.
You want to get into this? How long of a leash do you think they give Vogt? Because there's quite a few people that didn't like him last year, and we still won a bunch of games. But he also had a lot of hiccups, especially in the playoffs.
I mean, he's a rookie man. He was a rookie manager.
Yeah.
So obviously, you're going to see a lot of mistakes from a rookie manager. He's barely 36 years old, 37 years old. So he's still learning the ropes of becoming a manager. So I think he's got a big leash. But now, if we were talking like this was like 3-4 years down the line or something, then yeah, I'd probably be like, okay, let's he's on the ropes for sure. But
Daniels.
There's no reason to be concerned with the manager. I think he's doing.
$13.
I think he's doing a great job right now,
Yeah.
and again, he's a young manager, and you just gotta give him a little bit before he develops into what he truly is going to be as a manager. It's not the same as Tito, who's been doing it for like 30 plus years.
Yeah.
Or some of these guys have been doing it for like 30 years. You got to give him some kind of. You got to give him a big leash right now in his second full season as a big league manager.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I mean, it may not be him that's on the short leash, but again, I mean, some of these other coaches, I mean, we've always complained about the hitting coaches, and now, I mean, especially without Tito, the pitching staff coaches are either like amazing or they fucking suck. And it's so weird how each year it kind of all like seems to alternate in a certain way. So I don't know, man, but all I know is this Guardians team right now is honestly quite frustrating to watch, and that's why I haven't really been trying to keep up with them too much, because games like this are happening quite often, and it's just like it's too early in the season for me to start getting pissed off.
Well, I'll also say this just for the sake of it. We've played how many games already so far this year? You said
we're 9-8, so
16 or about 16, 17 games. 17 games in. So far, this is our 13th game on the road. This is our 13th game on the road. We've played 6 at home. This is our 13th game on the road. The one big thing that I can see why we're struggling is because we're playing a vast majority of the games on the road. These guys have yet to get even a chance to sleep in their own beds and see their own family. Like, this is the hard part about starting a season, is because the Guardians tend to get screwed the most because we tend to start off on like a West Coast road trip. We tend to start off on these big road trips that last like 2 weeks, and then we come home for like a week, and then we're back on the road for another like 2. So you could also say that we're probably just struggling right now just for the fact that we haven't even had many home games already to start the year.
Yeah.
So, and look how much better we did at home. We went 5-1 at home.
No, I know. And look, like I get that to a degree, but you cannot allow that to be the.
Oh no, you can't let that be the stigma that you're a home team.
Yeah, you can't. Because then you're no better than the Royals were last year. The Royals were impeccable at home last year,
but they were dog shit on the road.
Yeah, like you got to be consistent. And this Guardians team is having a weird time trying to find their way, and it's a tad bit concerning because I mean you thought you knew what you had here, and it's just kind of like almost feels like the Browns to a degree. You get one really good year and you're like, okay, cool, let's build on this. And then you go into it and you're like, why the fuck did we just win 3 games this season? Like what happened?
Yeah.
How? Hopefully that's not going to be the case for the Guardians. I mean, the Guardians it's not like they're the worst team in the division or anything. Because honestly, the entire Central Division sucks. I mean, Detroit is the best team right now, and they're like 10-7, I think. So it's like they're not too much, they're not too much further out. So as long as they can keep it close and not fall behind in the Division 2 bed, it should be fine. But this starting rotation has to figure it the fuck out, and you gotta find a way to not make this whole we played a shit ton of games on the road. Like we played 12 games on the road. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking baseball, man. You play up north. This is how it works. Like you got to fucking deal with it. It's such a long season. But yeah, I honestly, dude, I think through May, you're going to see a lot of DFAs and a lot of assignments for certain guys because If they're going to continue to struggle, the Guardians are going to have to act on it and make some sort of changes. Because again, Kwan's great. Obviously, Jose is who he is. You're definitely not going to get rid of Santana. Arias has been a dog. Hedges is cool. I think Schneeman's fine in his spot. I don't think you will do anything to Thomas. But there's a few guys you got to send down, including the pitchers, and that's where you're gonna have to start to figure it the fuck out, which was pretty much our struggle all year level, last year too, with all the injuries we had, and we haven't even really run into too many of those so far yet.
Well,
so
yeah, because as of right now too, you're thinking, do you start bringing up guys like Will Brennan back up? Do you start looking at? Do you look at pitching wise? Do you look at bringing back Andrew Walters back into the bullpen, who had a great year last year for Cleveland? Especially in the postseason and against the Yankees, because he dominated the Yankees in the postseason before Class A came in. So do you start thinking about like, okay, we take away Tristan McKenzie? Do we bring back Andrew Walters to be a part of that bullpen? Do you start maybe looking at who needs to come into the starting lineup as a pitcher? I mean, don't get me wrong.
Cantillo could find just weighing now with the way he's been playing.
Yeah, because as of right now, I think Bibby's going to be fine. I think he's just excited that he got a big time contract and he's just kind of getting used to it. I think Gavin Williams will be just fine. He just had an unlucky grand slam given up the other day. Like that's just, I know it was a good located pitch. It just got hit. So that really wasn't on him. So he's going to be fine. Ben
Lively is fine too.
He's serviceable. Ben Lively's good. He'll keep you in
games.
He
is who he is. Like he's going to give up a home run here or there, but generally speaking, he's a ground ball pitcher. He's going to keep everything in front of you for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to wow you with his velo or anything like that, but he's going to get the job done.
Logan Allen has come back into his rookie season. Logan Allen, he's looking phenomenal.
Yes. He's probably been the most promising one. So far, and I would say one of the more consistent ones right now.
And I will say this: Luis Ortiz really had a massive game at home.
That's very true. That 10 strikeout game was
career high 10 strikeouts. This is his second year as a main starter.
Yeah.
After being a starter last year for Pittsburgh, he had a 3.30 ERA, so he had a great ERA. So I think it's just coming to a new team, a new organization, just kind of learning the ropes a little bit in Cleveland.
Yeah, it could even be the weather a little bit. Who knows?
Yeah, so I think he'll be fine too. I think the pitching staff will be fine. I think it's just early road bumps a little bit, which happens. I mean, it happened a little bit last year too. A lot of guys earlier last year hit some early bumps, and Bobby had a couple early bumps last year. So I think they'll be fine. They just gotta get back into the mix of everything. You get Shane Bieber back in June. Which is
going to be phenomenal.
Which is really going to elevate this ball team or ball club here. Which is why I'm kind of hesitant on keeping having Cantillo up unless you were to get rid of Bibby and Ortiz or something, or not Bibby, but Lively and Ortiz.
Well, and you got to think about this too. The Guards can always make some some moves at the trade deadline at some point. I know they really haven't throughout the years, but if a guy like Lane Thomas continues to kind of struggle, he's a guy you dump, and then you bring or you keep up a Martinez, and then you can bring up Brennan. You can do those things. You still have the opportunity to. Plus, you still have DeLautner. If he can actually come back and actually play, it would be phenomenal. But he has that sort of Grady Sizemore core, injury that I'm not really confident about his ability to come back anytime soon. So I really don't want to put his name out there as as a possible guy to have. But again, our farm is more than capable of slowly trying to develop and eventually bring up. So is Thomas awesome? Yes, but if he continues to bat 220 and he's not really hitting for power. If we dump him off somewhere, I don't think it's going to be the end of the world.
Yeah.
And it just is what it is. I mean, that's the name of the game. Like that's what you're gonna, deal with. So we will see if they even do that. I mean, when you talk about trades with the guards, it's pretty unlikely for the most part. They really don't like doing a lot at trade deadline. It's almost like how the Cavs are, but the Cavs at least did something this year when they knew, hey, this is our fucking year to do something. We have to make some sort of splash to really elevate this team. And they did, and it fucking proved to be pretty good. So I guess we can use that as sort of a transition if you're good on ending guards talk. I don't know if you got anything else.
No, I'm good. We can go ahead and move on to the Cavaliers.
The thing that I care about the most, to be honest, like I'm not in tune very well with baseball as much as you are, but that's also because I don't have the Cleveland Guardians TV thing, so I don't even get to watch them, which is stupid as fuck anyway.
Hey, if you ever want to go to a game, let me know. I always have an extra ticket.
Dude, at the very least, I'm gonna hit up an Akron game because I really want to see Bassano live.
I want to come down and go see an Akron or Nebraska because I definitely want to see Travis Bassano.
It'll be cheap as fuck too, man. Like $20 a ticket probably, if that. Like it'll be nice.
I mean, I think general admission itself is like $10.
Yeah, it's hardly anything. They always have cool park deals. Like they'll have like the dollar beer nights and shit like that. So yeah,
like a Friday night or something, like a dollar beer.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to be down to do that. At the very least, I'll at least take my lady down there because it'll be
a nice date night.
Yeah, it'll be perfect. But yeah, the thing that I care about the most, the thing that listen, besides the draft, I'm locked the fuck in for CAVS playoff basketball.
Yes, sir.
Mainly just because like this has been that whole the whole month of March we had clinched the playoffs, and it was like fuck, okay, cool. And then we had to play the whole month and a half out of are we going to clinch the first? And, are we going to have the best record overall? Like, it was like, man, we kind of just threw ourselves barely over the finish line just to get us through the season. We did it. Doesn't matter. And we're here. And everybody... I mean, at least from what I saw today, everybody looks pretty locked in, and everybody looks pretty loose as well. Like this is the third year now with this group. Obviously, they have a little bit more of that expectation on them, but it doesn't look like they feel the pressure, at least right now. It could change game time, but this Cavs team just looks like they are just more. They're more in tuned. They understand what is at stake, or at least the potential that they have. And they're just ready to fucking go. And I think they've been ready to go since the beginning of March.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think this team's been ready to go since the beginning of March. I'm just interested to see who we're going to play because don't get me wrong, I don't think it's going to really affect what's going to happen. I still think it's going to be at least a 5-game series.
Right.
Because I don't care what anyone says. Nobody's a guaranteed sweep. Not even for the Celtics, not for us, not for the Thunder. Nobody's a guaranteed sweep. I think you're definitely going to lose one game on the road, no matter who you play. And that's the extent of it. But it's more of who do you favor as a matchup? And do you favor the Heat? Do you favor Atlanta? I'm sure LeVert and Yang want to play Cleveland. I'm sure DeAndre Hunter wants to play Atlanta. I think that'd be a bit more of a fun series where it's just kind of, I guess, shit talking. Like I put air quotes because I don't think neither Niang or LeVert have ill will against the Cavs.
No.
I think they understand that it was just business, and that was just a business move. But I think that'd be more of a fun series because it's more of like a sentimental for both teams. Like the DeAndre Hunter and obviously we have Niang and LeVert, which don't get me wrong, both were fun guys. I think they're probably great off the court guys. But they weren't producing on the court like we wanted them to. I know Atlanta Hawks fans are getting pissed with them just now because they're still not producing. the Heat, it would just be kind of like a weird series where it's like it's gonna be like a good series, but it's like it could be like a 4-1 series, but it'll at least be like a good 4-1 series. Like games will be close and whatnot. But
Yeah, that's the thing about the Heat. Like, I almost feel like they're scrappy enough to get like 5 or
exactly,
6 games in, you know.
exactly.
And I think with the Hawks, I think with just the way they're built, I think it would be a much easier series for us to go up against the
You just
Hawks.
you just have to contain Trey Young, and that's about really the extent you have to
Yeah,
do with that team.
yeah, because Niang is going to hit a few threes, but you also know he's going to make a couple dumbass mistakes.
Oh,
Um,
1,000%.
and as long as you don't let those young guys, go off, it shouldn't be much of an issue. And I don't think the Hawks quite have as much height as the Heat do,
I was gonna
but
look
the
at that.
but the Hawks play faster than the Heat
Yeah.
do. The issue with the Heat really is, dude, if you shut down Hero, the Heat are pretty useless. I
Mhm.
think they're a better team defensively, and that's I think what makes them scrappier is just the fact that man, what's that kid 45 on the Heat? He's a dog.
I'm gonna look at the roster here in a sec. Right
I
now,
forget what his name is.
what number did you say? 40.
445 is the
Oh,
same number as
Davion
Mitchell.
Mitchell.
Yeah, yeah. He's a dog. Like he
Mhm.
is very very scrappy, and he's a solid scorer. I mean, he's nothing like crazy, but he
Yeah.
gave us problems the last time we played the Heat. And that was the same thing or the same game that I think Bam went off for like 32 points on us, and we still won, but like again, I think either way, I think you're getting about an even playing field. I don't really have a necessary preference because we still could win. I think we'll win in 5 games. As long as the Cavs come in and handle business, at least at home. Like, hey, handle your shit at home and then
Mhm.
squeak one out on the road. And if you get a 3-0 series lead, cool, you sweep them. If not, okay, you win game 4, come back home, you win game 5, okay, GG, next round. And that's the way they got to go into this playoff series. And really, the playoffs in general is go in there on a mission, man. Like, go in there, like, literally ready to take souls. Like do not be afraid to represent the East as the 1 seed and act like you are the 1 seed. Like, act like you have something to fucking prove. The
Yeah.
way you've been so dominant, this season, especially in the East, prove that. Prove that. The one thing that I did want to ask you, is out of all of the teams in the East, obviously, really besides Boston, uh, what is the one team in the East that you were kind of a little nervous about potentially playing if it gets to that point?
Potentially playing if it gets to that point. Um, I would say beside the Celtics, honestly, probably the Pacers. Which I mean, we play them next round essentially, but I think people definitely underestimate what the Pacers can really do.
Yeah,
I
they're a solid squad.
they're very big. They're very physical. Tyrese Halliburton's an absolute dog.
He's a
Their
unit.
bench their bench is very undervalued and very underrated. Um, but I think that'll definitely be more of like a 6-game series, but almost a potentially maybe a 7-game.
Yeah,
Like I'm not really worried about the Knicks. We swept the Knicks.
yeah,
I'm not really worried about them. They're ever since Cat came in, they kind of been dragged down a little bit.
yeah.
And Cat is not like all that physical compared to like your Mobleys or your Allen. Um, I'm not worried about the Bucks too because the Bucks is Dame healthy. If not, then you could really just kind of go after them.
Well, it sounds like he should be able to play at some point. It just
Yeah,
depends on if they get out of the first round.
but that's the thing. If they
Um,
don't make it
yeah.
out,
I
then
mean,
it's
I would agree. Like, I would say the only other team besides the Pacers, honestly, is Detroit. Like, Detroit's gonna be
Detroit.
scrappy.
Detroit would be very scrappy, and JB is definitely going to be like, listen, don't be afraid to hack and foul and get
Yeah.
like very fucking physical,
Yes, he's gonna want them to be an asshole,
like
and
like
that's
almost
how
like
they're
the
gonna
bad
win.
boy Pistons of the '80s. He's going to want them to be almost like that.
Do they are they the ones that play Indiana? Or, like, were they the 5 or were they
Detroit,
the 6?
no, Detroit plays New York.
Dude, I could low key see Detroit beating
The
the
Knicks.
Knicks. By the way, I'm sure you've seen on bunch of TikTok accounts and stuff like trying to like predict stuff. Dude, nobody has the Cavs ever coming out of the East. It's always Boston. But
Yeah,
these Knicks fans think that the Knicks are gonna 4-0 Detroit. I'm like, you were out of your fucking mind.
I saw
Detroit is
that.
gonna at least take 2 games. Like the Knicks should win that series, okay? They should win that series because they have Cat, they have fucking Brunson, they have OG. They got a lot of talented guys on that team. They should win that series in 5 games, to be honest. But I can see Detroit pushing it 6, maybe even fucking 7 games. And honestly, Orlando is going to give Boston a run. And I'm going to tell you why. Jaylen Brown is not 100%. He's getting shots in his knees right now, trying
Yeah.
to prepare for this playoff run. If he's not 100%, that hurts Boston immensely because although Tatum was the finals MVP, Brown really was the MVP of that run last year. Like Brown was the guy that made the difference. Tatum does what he does, but Brown is the guy that can really, really help this ball club. And if he can't stay healthy, it's going to be a rough go for them.
Also,
Um,
also Jaylen Brown won Finals MVP last season.
Did he? I thought Tatum did.
No,
That's even funnier to me than
no,
than
it's
than,
Jaylen
than
Brown.
fuck Tatum. Tatum complains about, I'm so undervalued. Nobody appreciates me. Yeah, because you didn't even win NBA Finals MVP. Like, come on.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown won it, averaging 24 points a game, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists.
Yeah, because he
And
was
shooting,
a fucking dog the entire playoff run. He was
yeah,
awesome.
he shot 50% the entire finals.
Yeah, well, he's not doing that. I'll tell you that right now. He is
Yeah.
not doing that this year. He has not been shooting the ball well. He really hasn't been healthy like all year long. Like he's been battling some stuff for pretty much the entire season, which does suck for him. So again, but yeah, dude, Orlando, like they are gonna play Boston
Scrappy.
the same way that they played us last year.
Physical, scrappy. The only difference is that they won't have to deal with Mo Wagner
Yeah,
or Jalen Suggs.
yeah.
Which, if they did, first of all, I don't think that Orlando would be a 7 seed. I think they'd be more of like a 5 seed or but even if they were to say be a 7 seed and play the Celtics, I think that could be almost a 7-game series too.
Yeah.
Just the physicality that they play with, because there's one thing we all know about Boston: they hate physicality. They cannot stand because
Oh yeah, you start getting in their head, you start pissing them off.
they
Oh,
complain.
dude.
They complain so much that if you just start getting in their heads by playing a little bit physical and just bumping them and whatnot, like
Yeah,
this would
dude,
be
they
a
start
perfect
thinking
series
that.
to have like Matthew Dellavedova and
Oh
just
yeah.
let him go crazy on Tatum or something.
Well, that's why you have guys like Ty Jerome for us. So, like those are going to be the guys I think that are going to be scrappy for us in this playoff run. Truly.
Yeah,
Like him, he's going to play a very important role in this series or in this playoff run. I am curious to see what, like how deep Atkinson decides to go in the, in the rotation because he can play like 9 or 10 guys if he really wants to. Like Sam Merrill has to get some minutes. Dean Wade has to get some minutes, especially for defense.
yeah,
Obviously Jerome's going to have it. And Hunter, okay, so that's what 9 right there.
yeah.
I mean, fuck, dude.
Okoro.
Yeah, yeah. Okora's another like another guy. You got to at least give 10 to 15 minutes in. Like,
Yeah,
it's gonna be interesting, man. It like I said, I think we've kind of said this before too. It could very well depend like series to series. Like it could really depend on just the matchup. And it could even go game by game. Like he may not play the same guys per game, but that's the beauty of the playoffs is you get to make those adjustments and try something new. I mean, fucking JB did that last year where he threw Niang out in the fucking starting lineup one time, and I was like, "What are we doing?" But it was because he needed some height because Jared Allen was out, and it was just a whole fiasco last year. Hopefully, we don't have to deal with stuff like that. But I do wonder
if they're gonna start Hunter over Struz. I don't think so,
I think
but I do wonder.
I think that's more depending on the size advantage that
Matchup, yeah.
of who you're facing. Like if it was the Celtics, then yes, DeAndre Hunter should start because I mentioned this to a buddy of mine who's a Celtics fan. I said I think what the Celtics have best out of anyone in the league is size because they're not all their starters are 6'7" and above. And I was like, that's not good for like the Cavs, who is trying to guard Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum, who are both 6'8", and you're having a 6'1" Garland and a 6'3" Mitchell guarding them, and a 6'4" Strus. I was like, you need to get in there as like, and if you're gonna start anyone who's 6'4", number one, it'd probably be Isaac Okoro because number one, he's 6'5", but he's also very physical, so he wouldn't be a bad matchup for Tatum, whatever. Because again, him and Hunter locked up Tatum in that last game in Boston where they were up by like almost 30, and we came back and won. Because the big reason why we came back is because Okoro and Hunter locked up Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum, and again, I think that's the thing we're going to see is the size matchup. Because if you play Boston, if you do make it to the Eastern Conference Finals and you play Boston, Hunter 99.9% starts because you have to have at least some guy who's 6'7", 6'8", has to at least guard one of Tatum and Brown at all times. Because you can't, again, like I said, you can't have three guards who are 6'3" and under guarding two guys, because that's how they get easy jump shots over you, and all they have to do is create an inch of space to take a shot. So I think it depends on the size of the teams you're playing, which I think you stack up nicely against like both Miami and Atlanta. But after that, you really don't stack up well against like Orlando. You don't stack up well against, Boston because they have big rosters. Like the rosters are like 6'6" and above.
Right.
With maybe one guy on a bench who's like 6'1".
Yeah, it is going to be very intriguing because, dude, like, I'm sorry, you gotta give him like close to 30 minutes in a game.
I'm sure they will.
Doesn't matter if he starts or not. And again, Strus should get around 20 because he still has the ability to score. He's a sharpshooter, and he does make plays, especially in the fast break. I think, and he does have some spotlights on defense. Like he will have a moment where he sort of, he sort of hypes up the team. It's nice to have that. So, he's still going to play, a solid part in this run. But the one thing that I do want to ask about this run specifically on this Cavs team, who do you think has more pressure on them to play well? Do you think it's Garland? Do you think it's Mitchell? Do you think it's Mobley? Who do you think has the most pressure?
I would say probably Garland, just for the fact that obviously he came back from a bad jaw injury from last year, and obviously he came back and played and just didn't look right, didn't look the same.
Yeah.
There's going to be moments where obviously Atkinson likes to do this where he sits either one of Garland or Mitchell and whoever stays in runs the floor with some of the bench guys. And I think it's very crucial for Garland to make those moments count because don't get me wrong, he's been great in that role this season.
Yeah.
When Mitchell will go off and he has to be the one to kind of take over. He's been good in those moments, but you need him to, be almost perfect in the playoffs for this team to really be elevated. And I think like I said, I think he's shown a lot of great promise this year. I think he's shown a lot of way he can get back to the old Garland.
Yeah.
I just think that even with Mitchell on the floor or off the floor, he's definitely got to be able to make shots, not turn the ball over like he usually likes to do.
Yeah.
He's got to go to himself and be like, okay, don't turn the ball over. Don't turn the ball over. Okay, I got an open shot. I have to hit this open shot. I think we'll see a different Garland in the playoffs. I think you might see him step up a level, which I would love to see if he can do that. And if he can, this is a team that's going to go far.
Yeah.
And maybe even win it.
Yeah, I would. I would agree. I think with Garland, obviously he's going to have to shoot the ball well.
Mhm.
He cannot turn the ball over a lot. But I think where he's really going to have to step up the most is going to be on defense. He has to take the defensive side of the ball seriously. And he has shown times where he will, especially in the playoffs. Was it not last year, but the year before that? Like, he was the only one that was really like playing some pretty good defense, even at his size. But I would say that that Mitchell does have a pretty good amount of pressure on him because he chose to come back. He chose to stick with his team, and he has not played that well even before his ankle. Like, he was having a pretty rough stretch of games.
Mm-hmm.
He has to come out with a purpose, and he has to come out not with an ego, but with the sense of, hey, when it's time for, like, when I know this team needs a boost, I need to be the one that sets the tone. And I think Mitchell has to do that almost on a nightly basis. And I'm not saying that you should take that away from guys like Mobley.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll come game to game, but like, you have to recognize that, hey, if it's going to be me, cool. If it's going to be Garland, cool. If it's going to be Mobley, cool. If it's going to be Allen, cool. At least get those guys involved. Like, use your playmaking ability to make sure that you do that. Because, again, I don't see the pressure being on guys like Mobley. I think Mobley is going to have a very fun playoff run. I really do. I think he is like prepared himself all season long to kind of handle the pressure that he is going to have. And I think he's going to kill it. I think that series against Boston before we, got exited, really showed us like, hey, like, this kid, he's fucking got it. Like, he does have it. And the Cavs have done a really good job of building him up all season long. And it's going to be his time. And I think Mobley is going to have some big games. But, yeah, Garland is definitely going to have to be the one that steps up the most. The fun part about this team is I think our bench is in the best place it could ever be in. And I think the best teams that always end up winning have the best benches. I mean, you look at even Boston level, last year, they had an incredible bench.
Yeah.
When you have a good bench to rely on when guys get in foul trouble, or you just sort of need the game to flow into a different way. Dude, guys like Jerome and Hunter are going to be key, very, very key, or even Sam Merrill are going to be very key in giving us those boosts when guys like Mitchell and Garland have to sit for 5 or 6 minutes, or if Mobley gets in foul trouble, which he does on occasion. It's going to be fun. This is going to be a really fun run, and I hope the Cavs are just ready to take it all in and say, okay, we have an opportunity in front of us. We can't overlook it. We just have to take it game by game, series by series. We know what we're capable of, and we know we could beat every team literally on this list. I mean, even in the West, you could definitely beat the Thunder. You can definitely beat the Nuggets. The Clippers are playing some hot ball, but you can beat them. You could beat up on the Lakers. The Lakers are slow as fuck. Minnesota, you've killed. The Rockets, I think, are way overhyped. My hot take: the Rockets get first rounded by Golden State. I think Golden State beats them in like 6 games. I do not think the Rockets are playoff ready just yet. That's my opinion, but
no, I don't hate it because like you said, they're
Steph
very
and Butler are going to do their thing. I mean, they have to.
well, yeah, and the Rockets are a very young team, and they're very inexperienced when it comes to the playoffs. So I think, like you said, I think it boils down to the experience on the Golden State Warriors with Steph, Jimmy Butler, 2 guys who've made the finals before. Steph obviously won the finals 4 times. Draymond obviously has experience. So those guys are more experienced than anybody on Houston. As it comes to it, I would love to play the Nuggets, Clippers. I mean, I would love to play anybody probably besides the Thunder in a sense.
Yeah.
Because I know the Thunder would give us a run for our money. We struggled against the Thunder this year. I mean, we went 1-1, but we did struggle in their stadium, but they also struggle on the road quite a bit too.
Yeah, they do.
And I don't think people really understand that they struggle on the road a lot this year. Yeah, they won a lot of games, but there were a lot of very close games that came down to the wire. But going to the bench points argument, the Cavs rank in the top 7 in bench scoring, averaging 40 points a game off the bench.
Wow.
The teams ahead of them are the Spurs, the Grizzlies, the Warriors, the Hawks, the Jazz, and the Pistons. Well, them and the Pistons are kind of tied, and the Pacers. All three are tied.
Damn.
So a team like Boston, they're not like, I don't have stat muse like, I don't have the full stat muse unlocked because it shows me the first 25 teams.
Right.
I don't see Boston in the first 25.
Wow.
Which means Boston's in the bottom 5 and bench score. And I could probably just pull up the ESPN or the NBA stats on the
Which
bench.
is so weird because you would think that they, their bench would be pretty solid with, Pritchard and all of them. Like, it is a solid little unit, but it seems like out of the outside side of him, there's not really a whole lot of reliable guys. And I think they could have lost some guys too. I don't know, but yeah, that's interesting.
Also, I will say this, because at least while I have this before I go to the bench, it's on NBA.com. Season leaders of teams. Ready? Points per game. Number 1, Cavaliers with 121.9.
Right.
Rebounds per game. Cavs, number 5 at 45.5 rebounds per game. Assists per game. The Cavs aren't in the top 5, but I can always see where they are. And of course, it says that's because it's on playoffs. The Cavs rank 8th in assists.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Going back to the others, once I get rid of this ad, going back to the others, let's see, field goal percentage per game. Cavs, second place behind the Denver Nuggets at 49.1% field goal percentage. 3-pointers made, Cavs second with 1,303 threes made, 100 behind the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
But where you don't see the Celtics is in 3-point percentage. Meanwhile, the Cavs are in second place in 3-point percentage at 38.4% from 3.
Whew. Yeah.
So the Cavs lead the league in a lot of stats. And if I go to the bench, the Cavs, bench-wise, minutes per game, Cavs are 4th at 19.5 minutes per game for the bench. Cavaliers net rating, 3.5 net rating for the bench behind OKC. And all those, it's kind of weird. They have Boston at 2, even though Boston's, and it's probably just because of the last game of the season where Boston's bench went crazy. But if you look at the entire bench, number 1 team in win percentage in the bench, OKC. Number 2 is the Cavs.
Yeah, I mean the top 2 teams for a reason.
Yeah, points 8th. Field goal percentage, top 9. 3-point percentage, 3rd. Free throw percentage, we're in the top 10 in free throw percentage. Defensive wise, the Cavs are top 10 and every single stat. So when it comes to it, like you said, the biggest thing that the Cavs have over a lot of these teams is the bench.
Yeah.
But even the top 5, even the starting 5, incredibly good. Top 5 in a lot of those categories. The bench, top 5 in a lot of those categories. as it seems, because the Thunder could be like first in this, but then like assists per game, they're like 23rd or something. Same with the Celtics, same with a lot of these teams, the Nuggets, whatever. They might be first place in 3-point percentage, but then they're like, oh, 3-pointers all season. They're like dead last. So for the Cavs, to see them like, okay, they're still like top 5 in every single one of these categories tells you that the Cavs have the most, I would say, consistency and the most well-rounded team in the NBA. Because when you start getting to those deep benches, like if you play OKC, if you play Boston, once you start getting to those bench versus bench, I remember this being a part when we again beat the Boston Celtics in the TD Garden in the final game where Jason Tatum told everyone like to shut the fuck up or whatever.
Right.
The Cavs bench came out and scored 45 points. The Celtics bench, 15. And all 15 were Peyton Pritchard. So basically their bench is, as long as you stop Peyton Pritchard, they don't have a bench.
Right.
That's why you saw them in like top 10 in field goal percentage or 3-point percentage off the bench. That's all Peyton Pritchard, who's just a 3-point shooter. The reason why they have their third in win percentage for the bench is because the Celtics led all game, and then they would just bring on their bench to close it out.
Right.
Now, you can say the same about the Cavs, but there's games where the Cavs started Ty Jerome, DeAndre Hunter, and started their bench, Isaac Okoro, and still won the game. And still won by a decent amount.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a difference between the benches. And I think, and I've said this before in the podcast, and I've said it to a lot of people. I think when it comes to the NBA, bench is very, very important.
Yeah.
And I usually say the best bench would always win. Because when the starters come out, do you have guys behind you that can continue the trend of what the starters were doing? And if the answer is no, then you're going to be playing your starters almost the entire game because you don't trust your bench. But hey, for the Cavs, guys like Garland and Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Allen, these guys can rest.
Yeah.
And be fully healthy and be aggressive all they want because their bench can come on and just do the same amount of damage that the starters are doing.
Right.
And that's what's going to probably make us successful.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, I'm really just excited about this Cavs team. I'm really excited to finally get them in the playoffs. Like we've been waiting for it. We knew we were going to the playoffs. It was just what seed, and then it's like, okay, do we want to get the 1 seed or do we just want to be healthy? And then we ended up getting both somehow, which is pretty fucking fortunate for us.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be fun, man. I'm really excited for Sunday. Obviously, it's gonna be Easter as well. So I will be with my lady. It will just be a good day. It's gonna be a long day, but it's gonna be a good day. Really excited. I wanted to try to go over the Barry private purple wrestler from earlier today. We've already been going for an hour. There wasn't too much to really discuss. I think the only thing I really took from that is 1, I think it's Hunter at 2. The amount of glaze that he continues to give Travis Hunter is ridiculous. He literally compared Travis Hunter to Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
So when he says stuff like that, you're like, okay, we know. Another thing is I think Milrow is a legit possibility, and that is something I'm not really happy about. But again, he's another one that they, especially him, continues to glaze over, and I don't know if it's a smoke screen or not. It's the shitty part about this team is I can never fucking tell. The Flacco signing, which I know we didn't get to go, over really. The Browns did sign Flacco last week, which is awesome. I think that was good for the team, and also just giving them some depth. I still think Pickett is probably going to be the guy that they try to trawl out first. I think the only thing that's dangerous about that is if Kenny starts playing bad, us fans, we're going to start calling for Flacco. or we're going to call for the rookie, but we're going to call for Flacco first. It's going to put him in a tough spot, and I'm going to feel bad for him if so. But I think they're going to give him sort of the benefit of the doubt. But I think it is still going to be wide open between him and Flacco. I don't think the rookie will have any real say in trying to start, unless it is Shadur, which even then I still don't think you would want to start him at the start of the season. But yeah, I think it's going to be Milroe, and I'm not really going to look forward to that. But hey, if you give him 2 years, could be something, but it's tough to tell. His quarterback sense to me is just not very NFL ready at all. He's a great athlete, but I just don't know if he's going to catch on or not. And the only other thing that I had was the thing with JOK. Still seems kind of up in the air. Like they say he's progressing, but there's nothing else. Like they haven't said shit about JOK, and it's concerning. And you wonder at what spot in this draft we're going to take another linebacker, because they probably fucking will. Despite having to sign Jerome Baker and that the other DN that we got from the Bucks, like it's going to be interesting. I don't know, but I can 100% say it's got to be Travis Hunter at 2, 100%.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. I think that was like the biggest message, was that it's basically Travis Hunter at 2, and I don't like the possibility of a Jalen Milroe. I think they're so hyped up on the fact that he's big and physical and runs like Lamar Jackson. It's like, the thing is like nobody's going to be like Lamar Jackson, except for Lamar Jackson.
Exactly.
So we got to get off of that hype train, and we got to get a guy who fits the system, who we don't have to change the system for again. And we just got to get a guy that we can just trust to take over a team
Eventually.
And if you're going to go back to the Stefanski playbook, then you're going to need a guy like a Dart or a Howard.
Yeah.
If you want to change the playbook to fit a guy like Jalen Milroe, then there's going to be a lot of rushing plays in that book and not a lot of passing because he cannot pass to save his life. So I don't think Milroe is the guy, but who am I to say? I'm not in the Browns organization. I'm not in the NFL. I'm not in any organization. So, hey, what the fuck do I know?
Right. Yeah.
So
it's going to be interesting, man. It's the Browns are as we said, they're going to shape what the draft is going to end up going like. And I think this draft's going to be another weird one. Like I think you're going to see some weird picks, and that I think is the most exciting part as a fan, because you're like, all right, who's going to fuck up? Like who's going to do something really, really, really stupid, and who is going to do who's going to stick to it and have a good draft? Like who's going to get through it and just do what they got to do? I really hope the Browns have a good draft. I really hope they go after some of the guys that we have been wanting to try to go after. God only knows what's going to happen though. We were going to do a mock draft, but honestly, I don't think we need to for this one, especially because we can just do it for the draft preview, which we will do. So honestly, we'll probably post the draft preview before the draft instead of posting it on Friday, since we're going to record it probably Wednesday.
Yeah.
So expect a day early upload for next week for the Browns preview. That's pretty much going to be the entire thing besides CAVS. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I don't know if you got anything else for us, Drew, but I'm all Gucci.
I am all Gucci too. I'm just excited for the draft so we can stop talking about it.
Same here. My God, I'm so ready for it.
I think I love the draft. I love draft time, but I always hate having to sit here and talk about it, and then everyone gets these stupid ass ideas. And
yeah, it's the same thing over and over and over
so
and over and over.
I'm just waiting to get off the carousel and I'm ready to get next Thursday done and over with.
All right.
So that's all I got.
That's all I got too, guys. All right. Well, we will see y'all next week for the Browns draft preview. And as always, we'll see you next time.